This segment is brought to you by Rouse's Markets. Feels like home.
Welcome to Bayou Time. I'm Jacob DeGate. I'm happy to be your host for this evening edition, and we're also happy to have Kevin Gilmore here joining us via Zoom, who is a meteorologist with the National Weather Service. Thank you very much for joining us.
Thanks, Jacob. Thanks for having us.
All right. You know, this morning I woke up and my wife showed me a picture, and I was said that the northern lights were seen around the area, and I told her she must be lying, but apparently, I was wrong. Can you tell us a little bit about that phenomenon?
Yeah, we're experiencing a little bit of above average geomagnetic activity coming from the sun, which is providing us with very dazzling displays of aurora across much of the world and even across North America. This is a little bit stronger than what we typically see across the globe. Where we have right now is a G4 or a geomagnetic storm watch, specifically expecting G4 conditions. That's 4 out of 5, and 4 out of 5 is pretty impressive. That's where we can really get those auroras to push further south in the southern latitudes. So definitely not waking up to any type of a dream or anything. Really are seeing some aurora all across the United States, across the entire area.
All right, and I think the Space Weather Prediction Center has issued some forecasts. Is this expected to happen again or near future?
Yes, yes, it's expected to happen again tonight. Now, if you were happen to be lucky to see some last night, we had some similar conditions from earlier CMEs or coronal mass ejections from the sun, and yeah, provided dazzling displays across the entire area. We will see something similar to that again tonight with this G4 in effect. Will it be anything like we saw May 10th of 2024? That was a G5. That was the strongest in 20 years. It's hard to say, but if you happen to be out tonight, we got clear conditions that will provide good viewing conditions as long as you can get away from any type of city lights to potentially see some interesting aurora on the northern parts of the horizon.
All right. Is there any specific time that has been forecasted?
Really, it could be any time tonight, but I would say primarily after sunset. So give it a try once the sun sets. Look to the north. It may be a little bit hard to see with the naked eye, but if you have any type of like an iPhone or any camera or device that takes long exposures, that's how we've been able to really see these really nice photos of this aurora. So if you have anything that shows long exposures, point it to the north, and you may be treated with some very pretty sights from these auroras.
Okay, and so that's the direction, I guess, that comes from the north. It always, if you're up north, I guess you get to see it a lot more, especially around Canada and up even further north. But down here, I guess it's pretty rare.
It's pretty rare down here, and like I said, with the May 10th event, it was viewed all across the northern Gulf Coast, which was, again, incredibly rare, one of the strongest in the last 20 years. And we could see something similar to that around here. But if you're further north, if you're talking about like the central northern plains, northern United States and Canada, this will be directly overhead, and you won't even need a camera. It'll be so bright and very beautiful up that way. But for it to be this far south, it's definitely a treat. So again, if you're lucky enough to see it, get away from those city lights, and you might be able to catch this really beautiful aurora.
Aurora. Now, I guess it goes to this is all, I guess, from the solar particles coming in contact with the magnetic field. Is that generally what we're seeing, and it spreads the light in a different direction?
Right, exactly. So these coronal mass ejections are faced towards the Earth, and they are blown towards us. It takes some time to reach our geomagnetic field, and it filters in through the pole regions. And it takes some time. As far as we've been checking some of the latest information, that the strongest and final CME has already arrived to Earth, and it takes a little bit of time. And once it does, the sun sets. It aligns to the really prime conditions. So really, a lot has to align up just right. Another thing too, we're in a solar max right now. That's a solar cycle of every 11 years of hyperactive activity coming from the sun, and that provides more sunspots and more activity directed towards the Earth. So we're coming out of that now, but we're within it right now, which is leading to these active conditions and these active aurora.
All righty. Now, I guess this, the increase in the solar particles, can that have an effect on different other instruments as well around the globe? Or
It definitely
yeah.
can. The one that we had on May 10th did actually cause some radio blackouts. When you get to that G4 and especially that G5, you can have some infrastructure impacts. So usually the most common one is going to be regards to radio blackouts. So that's something to keep in mind. But as far as like any significant infrastructure issues, it's really hard to say. We're going to have to kind of keep an eye on it and monitor it. But at G4 and G5, that's definitely a lot stronger than we typically see around here. So we'll see what it does, and it definitely provides some really beautiful sights later tonight.
Oh, certainly. I can't wait to go out. Hopefully, I'm able to stay up, and catch that. But I don't know. Might have to get some rest. We'll see. But
Yeah.
it's definitely, it's something that I always wanted to, travel up north to see. But to be able to see it back here in your own backyard, that certainly is something special. But again, the key is to get away from lights, really, because that light pollution can certainly keep you from seeing it as well.
Yeah, that's exactly right. And there's some websites out there you can just Google real quick, and it'll show you light pollution areas, areas to go if you're willing to travel and get a little bit further away from the city. That would be your best bet. But if you're looking north and you got any types of like street lamps or street lights or anything like that, that'll really cause a little bit of a challenge for you to see it. So if you have that northerly view that's very clear to see, definitely find that location, point your camera that way, and maybe you'll get a nice picture later tonight.
All right. Well, Kevin, thank you very much for coming on and filling us in and giving us some nice tips to where we can hopefully see that tonight. We appreciate it.
Hey, thank you.
All right. Stay tuned for more right here on HTV.
This segment was brought to you by Rouse's Markets. Feels like home.